Hello. Good morning, Tim. Rinju, you can start the session.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You can
Hello.
start with the question.
Hello, class. Let me know if you can see my screen. So, good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you for confirming. So, good morning, everyone. And the topic for today's web development session is HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. And my name is Rimjim. I work as a cloud engineer at LNT Pune. So this is this is the first class mainly for in a series of web development sessions for Learnovate. So like I'll be covering some of the basic tags which we use in HTML and what is HTML, what is CSS, what is the difference between both of them, and then I'll be covering what are the different tags, and then how do we create an HTML form, and then how a domain naming system works for IP addressing. So let's begin with the session. And in between class, if anybody is having any doubts, you can always stop me and I'll be happy to provide some more clarity on that topic. So yes, HTML is the language of the browser, and the full form of HTML is Hypertext Markup Language. And this is the standard markup language used to create structure of web pages. And this language consists of elements that act as a building block in the creation and the structure of web pages. And then we have www, which creates the standards of HTML. So whatever standards we have what are like we have thousands of tags in HTML. So all those tags and the standards, all those standards are created and maintained by www mainly. And then CSS we use to style HTML pages. In the later section of this presentation, I'll cover what is CSS and what are the different type of CSS we have, how do we declare CSS. And then talking about this part, HTML is not a programming language. So we can call HTML as a front end web language, or we can call HTML as a web language, but HTML is not a programming language. So class, whenever you're writing your resumes, just make sure that you're not writing in the section where you're writing C++, or Java. You always make sure that you're having a different header, such as a web end or a front end programming language or web languages. So under that section you can maybe write HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then Bootstrap. So all these things you can maintain under a different header, which can be web languages or front end languages, and then to make it more presentable. I hope this is clear. So this is the structure uh, of my HTML document. So whenever I'm writing my HTML program, I always have to make sure that I'm starting it with doc type HTML, which is mainly to understand the browser that this document is an HTML document, and this defines that the document is an HTML5 document, and HTML5 I guess is the current version which we're using. So for doc type, apart from doc type, rest all tags which I'll be using today will be having an opening tag and will be having a closing tag. So for example, I have HTML. So HTML element is, maybe this is the root element of my program. Then we have a header tag wherein we defined the header section of my program. So for example, and then we have body section of my program. So main agenda of my program I'll be writing in the body section of my program. And apart from that, I have to make sure that I'm writing an opening body tag and a closing body tag, and then I have an opening tag and then a closing tag. So class, if you're using normal notepad, always have to write an opening tag and a closing tag. But in that case, if you're using Visual Studios, or if I'm using what do we say, if you're using Notepad plus plus, so in that case, all this, if I'm writing an opening tag, the closing tag would come by default. Okay, I hope. And this is the basic structure of an HTML program. So whenever I'm writing my program, this structure would always remain the same. Only the logic of my program would change. Okay. And then the next topic for today is domain naming system. So in DNS, we have a forward lookup zone and we have a reverse lookup zone. So whenever I'm firing a query, for example, in the browser, whenever I'm typing google.com, and in response, I'm getting the output. So this is called as a forward lookup zone. And then if I'm typing an IP address, and then in return, if I get fully fledged FQDN, fully qualified domain name, so that is called as a reverse DNS. So I'll just show you how do we do lookups on my. So for example, let me just type Learnovate. Okay. So this is the page of Learnovate. Okay. So what I'll do is I want to find out the FQDN. Like I know the FQDN, which is www.learnovateecommerce.com. So this is my fully qualified domain name. And then if I want to find out the IP address of this particular program, of this particular website, so what I have to do is I have to go on command prompt, and we always have to make sure that I'm running my command prompt as administrator. So what I have to do is I have to fire ns lookup, and then followed by the name of my website. So I'll type no, this is not the one. So what I'll do is, and we always have to make sure that we're not using any kind of backslashes at the end whenever I'm typing this query. So I'll type ns lookup and then my FQDN. Okay. Okay. I don't have to use this also. ns lookup. Then I don't have to use this .com also, and then I don't have to use HTTPS also. That's the reason why it's not able to resolve my query. So in that case, if we see where the output which we are getting for this particular page is 68.183.233.96. So in this web page, if I just tell you, so if I'm typing any kind of FQDN, and in return if I get an IP addressing, so that is called as a forward DNS. Okay. And then if I type the IP address, and then in return if I get the again like this was the forward DNS which I told you, and for reverse again I have to use the same command followed by IP address. Okay. So I'll type ns lookup, and there is a lot of spaces, so let me just omit the spaces. IP 68.183.233.96. Okay, so let me just hit enter. So if I'm using reverse DNS also, so I'm getting full FQDN plus my IP address. So like a web developer should always know how to do ns lookup, and then how to we fire IP config command also in that case. So if I type IP config, so like this command is mainly to IP configuration command is mainly to find out what is the DNS server, what is the IP address in which I am connected to, what is a subnet mask. Plus, are we aware of what subnet mask is? Anybody? Class, are you all aware of subnet mask? What is subnetting in IP addressing? Anybody? Class, it's a Sunday morning. Please do not sleep. Anybody is aware of what subnet mask is? What is IP configuration? What are the classes in IP addressing we have? Anybody? Anybody can speak up? Hello. Class, if you don't know, you can always tell me. I'll teach that topic. There's no issues.
In IP address, we have 5 classes.
Yeah. And what are those classes?
A, B, C, D, and E.
And why do we use subnetting? Okay, class, no issues. I would like everyone to find out about this topic. What is subnetting and what are the classes in IP addressing? And in next class, I would ask everyone what subnetting is and then how it happens. Because whenever you go for interviews, this is the topic which everybody would ask you. What is a subnet mask? What is an IP address? What is an IPv6? Okay. So kindly note it down, and then after that, if anybody is having any doubts, I'll love to clarify it, because nobody is aware, and then if I start teaching that, it would take a lot of time. So whenever we are and then in case if I want to find out what is the person who is connected to this particular PC, so I have to type who am I command. So this is Dolly admin who is being logged into this particular machine. Okay. So in IP addressing class, we have to know that what is, whenever I'm typing this particular thing, for example, learnovateecommerce.com. Okay. So what is that backend which happens? So first, like whenever I'm typing www.learnovateecommerce.com, so what is the thing which happens in backend? How like this page comes up? So like whenever I'm typing this, the first check for my browser is always my cache. So it will always go in my cache and try to find out if there's any entries which I made in past for this particular FQDN which I am firing. So it would go in my cache, it would try to search, and if it is not able to find my cache, then it would try to fetch in my DNS records. So in DNS records, we have a record, we have triple A record, we have 4 times a record, then we have SOA records, we have mail server records. So it would just try to go and find in my records if this particular query is there or not. And then what DNS is, mainly DNS acts as a phone book for my system. So how do we have all our contacts and names being saved in my phone? So we have a name and then we have a number. So similarly DNS works. So we always have a name, which is my FQDN in this case, which is google.com, and we have a number associated with it. And that number maybe is called as IP address. Okay. So let me just open a notepad and then tell you. So in IP addressing class, we have 5 classes. And first of all, in IP addressing, you have to understand the segregation. We have a private IP address, and then we have a public IP addressing range. So in private IP addressing, we have only 3 classes, which is class A, B, and C. And then in public IP addresses, we have 5 classes, which is class A, class B, class C, class D, and we have E, and then we have E is mainly we do not use, and then we have IPs associated with it, ranging from, so for example, for class A, we have 0.0.0.0 to 1. So like whenever we are using class A IP address, we have to make sure that we are using a particular range only. So class A starts from 0.0.0.0 to 127. No, it was 1.0.0.0. So we have 1.0.0.0 to, it will be 127 dot 0.0.0. Okay. So this is my class A. So 0 to 127 is my class A, and then 128 to 191 we have. So 128 to 191 we have class B, and then from 192 to 223, and the last number is 255. Okay. So class E would be, it would be 255, 248. You can find out what is there in between. Okay. 248 to 255 is my class E. And then when I was asking you subnetting, subnets are smallest unit, like smallest section of my IP addressing. So if you see 0 to 127, okay, so the number of IP addressing segments we can make in class A, and then we try to subnet that mask, is what is subnetting. Like smallest section and smallest instance of my IP address is my subnet. Okay. So here in my reply, if you can see, the subnet mask was 255.255.255.0. Okay. So this is the last subnet mask for my class E, which I'm having. And then we have 192.168.0.104. So this is which class, if anybody can tell me? 192.168.0.104. So this is my class C. Okay, so class C, in class C we have from 192 to 223. Okay, so make sure class that all these concepts, like these are very basic concepts which everybody should know, so that you know what is IP addressing, what is subnetting, what are the classes available, what is a private IP address range, what is a public IP address range. So you have DNS querying being clear to all of you. Okay. So similarly, like why I taught you, like why I thought to cover this concept is like for example, in future, if you want to find out if a particular website is up and running or not, so you can just fire this particular command, okay, ns lookup command, and then you will get in response the IP address, and then you can type ping, and then the IP address, and then whenever you're getting a response for that particular IP address for a web page, so like this, the reply should always, like the reply is always in the form of TTL packets. Okay, so like herein I am getting a reply from this particular website, which is 68.183.233.96. So the reply I'm getting is TTL packets. Okay, so byte is 32, and then the time is 72 ms. In 72 milliseconds I'm getting this response, and then the number of packets which is sent is 4, the number of packets which is being received is 4, and the lost number of packets is 0%. Okay, so whenever you want to find out if a particular web page is up and running or not, you always have to find out it through a ping command. So if you're getting this kind of response, the number of sent packets, the number of received packets, so for example here the sent packets was 4, the received was 4, the lost percentage is 0. So in this case, I'll be using a ping command to find out if my web page is up and running or not. Is this concept clear, class, to everybody? And then did you all make a note of what do you have to learn here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. And then the next topic for today is what is CSS. So CSS mainly stands for cascading style sheets, and then CSS describes how HTML elements are to be displayed on screen, paper, or in other media. Okay, so CSS saves a lot of work, and the reason why we use CSS is, so for example, if I have a normal program written in HTML, okay, and without using any kind of colors, without using any kind of effects, or without using any kind of designing to my page, I'm just writing a program, so that would not attract a lot of users. So for example, imagine Flipkart website without any coloring or without any styling. It would just appear vague to people and nobody would like to use it. Okay, so the reason why we use CSS is to style my web pages. Okay, and then this is the difference between HTML and CSS. So for example, I told you, imagine a Flipkart website, or imagine any kind of imagine Naukri or any kind of job portals without any styling or without having any kind of presentation to it. So in that case, like how do we achieve designing or styling to my web page? We'll achieve it by adding CSS or adding CSS structures to my program. Okay, or including CSS tabs. So what CSS is and how do we declare a CSS in my program? So the selector points to the HTML element you want to style. So we always have to declare a selector. Okay, and then we have a declaration block. And in declaration block, we have two values here. One is property and the other is value. So for example, property would be static. Okay, and then and in the value part we can put any kind of value. This is dynamic and it would keep changing according to our will. So here in my value portion in declaration, I can put any kind of value: red, green, blue, etc. So here also in property, this is static. Font size is always static, and then here in any kind of value I can pass, for example 12 px, 13 px, any kind of values. Okay, so the declaration block contains one or more declarations separated by semicolons, and then each declaration includes a CSS property named name and a value separated by a colon. Okay, and then multiple CSS declarations are separated with semicolons, and then declaration blocks are surrounded by curly braces. So whenever I'm using a CSS, I have to make sure that I'm and writing my CSS values within a curly braces, and then the property and value is separated by a colon, and then we can have n number of declarations here, like n number of values I can pass, but we have to make sure that two declarations are being separated by a semicolon. Okay, and then a property and a value is being separated by a colon. Okay, and then I'll show you how to include tables in my program. So whenever I'm writing a table, I have to make sure that I'm using a table tag, an opening table tag, and a closing table tag. And then to pass to create, I have to create table table data. So to create table row, I'll be using tr. To create a header, I'll be using th. And to put in elements, to feed in elements to my HTML program, I'll be using td, which is table data. Okay. So tr element defines a table row, the th element defines a table header, and a td element defines a table cell. Okay. So like the next topic for, like, this is just a very big and a vague topic in HTML. So we have a lot of form elements. So for example, if you're opening Flipkart, or if you're opening any kind of job portals, so therein you'll see a lot of text fields would be there, a lot of labels would be there. So for example, if I open Learnovate website, so herein you will see like there are so this is the portal. So if I click on shop now, where is shop now? So herein, if you see, there are a lot of like these are option buttons. So we have a lot of options here available. So if I click on search here, so this is a text field. Maybe this is a text field which they have used. A lot of things you'll get. So similarly, and this is maybe a submit button. So whenever you're using any kind of web pages, you'll see that there are a lot of buttons which are there. We have submit buttons, we have check boxes to select one of the options. So to achieve all those tasks, what we use is we use HTML forms. Okay. And then whenever I'm using any kind of form elements, I have to make sure that I'm using a form tag, an opening form tag, and a closing form tag. Okay. The form element is a container for different type of input elements such as text field, checkboxes, radio buttons, etc. So the HTML form element is used to create an HTML form for the user. So as I told you, we have to use an opening tag and a closing form tag. Okay. So we have input element. So inside my input element, I can have any kind of like I can have different kind of things embedded inside my input element. So for example, if I want my input type as text, so I can just pass input type is equal to text. If I want input type as radio button, so like if I want to select either my option should be true or false, male or female, so therein in that case I can use input type as radio. Then we can use check boxes wherein I can select multiple options. So for example, I have car, I have a scooter also, and then I have a bicycle also. So in that case, to select multiple options, we use check boxes. And then if I want to submit my form, display a submit button in the submitting form. So in that case, I can use a submit. Okay. And then if I want my input type to be a simple button, so I can use a simple button also. And then we have text fields, as I told you. So input type is text, and then I can type any kind of text, any kind of numbers inside my input type whenever I'm declaring my input type as text. So for example, this is a form which I have made. So this is mainly the structure of my forms. I have used an opening tag and a closing tag, and then inside I have used a label, and then label is mainly for display purpose. Okay. The label is mainly for display purpose herein. There is input button. Went on last. So label is mainly the for display purposes in urine. My display is first name, and then the input type which I'm giving is text for this particular text field. Okay, and then I have a label L name, and then the input type for my L name is or text box. And then similarly we have radio buttons, so I can use radio, input type is radio, and then I can declare my value favorite language is 1 2 3. This is just same. And then if I want to upload or to create an HTML document that contains an input tag, or I want to use, or I want to, like for example, if we see on Naukri, there will be a button to upload my resume. So if I want to create a HTML page which is having a file upload button, so in that case my input type would be file. Okay. And then I can pass any kind of name to my file name, and then I can click on the submit button. Okay. So if I want to create a button to upload a file, so in that case my input type would be file. If I want to create a button which is having a radio button, so in that case my input type would be radio or text or anything or checkboxes. Okay, and that's it for the theory part. So let's just start with covering the labs. So in the beginning, I'll be just showing you some basic programs, and then we'll try to create an HTML forms. Okay. So let me just have a wider font. So as I told you, I have to. This is also not big. I want to be much bigger. So as I told you, every time whenever I'm writing my program, I have to make sure that I'm writing doc type HTML and then HTML tag. Then I'll have a header tag. So it's similar to a human body class. Similarly, we have head section, then we have body section, and then we end our then we have legs. So similarly, we just HTML is structured in a similar way. Okay. So inside my header, let me just write a title also. I'll just show you where my title appears. Okay, and then I'll end my title tag. So class, this session is mainly the first session which I cover in the web development session for Learnovate. So this is my first session, and then followed by we'll have Bootstrap, and then we'll have Parallax, and then we'll have all those JavaScript sessions. And then I'll write my body section. Okay. So inside my body section, let's just use the header tags which we have. So in header tags, we have, I guess, 6 tags, H1 being the largest, and then H6 being the smallest. And then I'll end my H1. And then for let's just not waste our time writing this again, I'll just try to copy it and then we'll change the values. And then I'll not use other things. I'll just try to end the body section. And then I'll end HTML. So class in title, I'll just save this program first and then I'll write this. So let me just, okay, where did it go? Inside labs, I'm saving my program. So let me just write first dot, and then I save my HTML programs with .html structure, and then I'll save it. We'll go in the location, labs, and then this is my first program, FIRSHT. So let me just open it. So similarly, like this was what I was showing you. So whatever we have in title, it would be appearing in my browser's head. Okay, so this is why I'm using title here. So these are my header. So this is my H1, H2, and H3. So similarly, if I use H4, H5, H6, it would go smaller. As the number increases, the font size decreases. Okay. So next, what I can use in this program itself is like we have other tags also in HTML, which are, for example, if I want to so let's just write a paragraph first. Uh, okay, so we had to use to define a paragraph in my program. We use paragraph tag, and then I'll write any random numbers here, and then I'll end my paragraph with a closing paragraph tag. And then here, for example, I want to write my text in bold, so I'll use a B tag. Okay, so to write my text in bold, I'll be using B tag. Okay, so I have used bold. Just write B itself, and then I'll use a closing B tag, which is a closing B tag. So similarly, we have a lot of tags. I'll just show you some. So for example, if I want to write my text in italics, so I'll be using I tag. I don't know what is the issue with my angular brackets. It always goes down /I. And then for example, if I want my text to be marked, so I'll use mark tag. So all these things class you'll get whenever you're writing your programs, and then you get ideas. So you'll discover all the tags in HTML. Okay. /marked, not marked, only mark. I close my tag, and then for example, if I want to uh, delete, like I want to have a strike, so I'll use del tag. Let's just end my del tag, and then let's just save my programs. This is so here in I have used a lot of tags here. We have used H1 tag, we have used title tag, we have used header tag, we have used I tag, B tag, mark tag, del tag, all this tag. So let me just save it, and then I'll rerun. So if you can see class, this is my header tag, and then this was my paragraph which I have written. This is bold, italics, marked, and then to have a striker to my thing, I have used delete tag. Okay, is this clear? Let me just delete this, and then I'll write another program here. And then next, what should we cover? We can we can just cover like how do we include links in my program. Okay, and then inside my body section to include, so for example, I'll use a tag here. Okay, a tag and href tag. So to include links in my program, what do we use? We use a tag and p tag. So let me just, okay, this is outside my body. So here what I'm doing is I'll use a, and then we have href tag to mention a link. So a tag mainly defines the hyperlink, and href attribute specifies the URL of my page. Okay, so a href is equal to, inside I can paste the Learnovate link. Href, and then let's just use this value, and then outside this is a link, and then let's just end my a tag. Okay, save, then refresh this page. So for example, if you can see, this is a link which I have written. If I click on this link, I should be able to, it would be redirected to my uh, to the link which I have given. Okay, is this clear? So let me just remove this, and then let's just try using the HTML forms which we have. So I'll just put header as HTML forms. Okay, and then as I told you, whenever I'm using HTML forms, so what I have to use is I have to use a form tag here. So I'll write form form, and then inside my form tag I'll write my elements. So for example, let's just use only three let's just declare two text boxes and a file button to upload a file, and then a submit button to submit, maybe. Okay, to submit all those things. Okay, so what I'll do is first I'll declare labels. Okay, so I'll have label, and then for my label the value which I'm giving is first name followed by this, and then I'll close my label. Okay, and then for this my input type would be text. So what I'll give is input type is equal to text, which would be in double quotes, and then I'll use a what do we say, like to have a break, let's use br tag. Okay, so here in what I have done is I have declared a label. So label is mainly, it's not a button or anything, it's just a tag for you which is used for displaying purpose, to display any kind of records. Okay, and then I have used input type text. Okay, and then let's just copy this entire thing again to have it for my second name. Here and I'll just change this as second name, that's it. First name, or maybe I just put it here as last name. Okay, and then for this also my input type is equal to text, and then what I'll do is I want to include a button. Okay, I want to include a button which would upload my file. So here in my input type would be file. Okay, input type is equal to file here, and then let's just give an id to my file. So id is equal to, and then whatever we are putting in id, it would be in double quotes. Okay, my file, and then let's just give a name to it. Name is equal to file name, and then as I told you, let's just have an submit button also. So input type is equal to submit. And then we have to make sure that we are closing it. So all this closing things class, like if you just miss closing any kind of things. So for example, if I missed closing my form tag, all these elements inside won't be appearing, okay, inside my page. So I have saved it, and then let's just refresh the page. Okay, let me just save it again. And then run it from here. So if you can see, we have first name, we can write any kind of value here. Inside my last name, I can write any kind of value. And then in choose file, we can select any kind of files which I want to write. So for example, let me just select this thing. Not, let's just select this particular value. So my file, any kind of file I can upload, be it an image or Excel file or PPT file, any kind of files I can just upload here. Okay. Is this clear, class, till this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And then for example, if I want to show you how do we use check boxes and all those things, so what I can do here is I can just enter two spaces. I can just put here instead of writing it again. So here in what I'll do is instead of input type as text, I'll write input type is equal to checkbox. Box, okay. And this is done. Let me just save it. And then you'll see a checkbox also. Here in my last name, and then you can just have multiple options. So I just had only one option, and then in the display you can write any kind of thing, for example hobbies and all those things. Okay. And then you can also have input type as radio here. Instead of input type as checkbox, I can have input type as radio. And then I'll save my program and rerun it. And then you'll have a radio button also. Is this clear, class? And then if you're writing any kind of passwords, so in that case, let me just show you. I'll remove all this. Okay, so for example, I want to enter password also, enter password field also if I want. So let me just copy this again. I'll paste it, and then for example, herein I'm writing password. So herein my input type would be password in that case. It would not be a text. Let me just save it. So you'll see the difference. For example, if I'm entering password here, it would, if I'm putting it as text, you can also put it as text, but that would be visible. So if I put it as password, it would come as dots. Okay, and then you can put any kind of stuff here. And then what's next we have to cover, and then I can show you a table program which I have written already, because that is a very big program which we have. Okay, let me just increase the font. So in table program class, as I told you, we have to make sure that we are using a table tag. Okay, so herein I have used a table tag, and then inside my table tag, the values which I have given is like inside my row. So I have created 3 rows, which is name, roll number, and class, and then I have closed my table row, and then I can to pass in values to my row, the tag which I have to use is td tag. Okay, so herein I have used my td tag, and then that's it. Table to declare table headers, I'll use th tag. Okay, and then th tag is mainly to declare the headers of my row. Okay, so I have declared a table row first, and then I have declared the headers, and then inside my headers what I'm doing is I'm using table row tag again, and then I'm passing the data to this particular headers which I have created. So for example, name, roll number, in class, I'm passing my values, and then I'm closing the tag. Okay, so let me just run this also and show you. So this is what is my output. Is these were the headers which I'm using, and this is the values which I have given to my table, and this is a head tag which I have used. Anything else? I guess there was an image tag also. How do we use image? So for any kind of websites, if I'm using, if I want to, uh, if I want to include images. So always make sure class, like this is the doubts which I have got in the previous session. So if I want to include any kind of image in my program, so you always have to make sure that the image and the program, both the things resides in the same folder. Okay, so for example, if I do not have the dia tag, dia image here, and then I have the program here, let me just open the program. So to include an image, the simple tag which we use is src tag. Okay, img src. So I'll be using img and then src uh, to just mention the source path where my image relies in. Okay, so this is my, I have used image tag and then I have used src to declare to like to mention the path of my image, and that's it. And then I have used width and height to specify the height and width of the image which it would be displaying. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll do a control x now, and then I'll try to run this program. You'll not see the image. Okay, whenever I'm running that program, I'll not see the image. I have to remove that from this folder. It's not there in my labs. Okay, I'm just running this particular code, so you'll not get this image here. Okay, the reason why I'm not getting this image is it's not mentioned in the source path. Okay, so if I want to get this particular image, what I have to do is I have to mention the exact path wherein my code is relying. Okay, so my code is not in this folder. My code is there in this folder, but my image is not there. So I always have to make sure that that the image and the program, both of them are relying on the same folder. Okay, and that's it, class. The assignment which I gave you is the DNS thing, which every one of you have to study the IP addressing classes, and just to have an idea. So this is one assignment which I have given you right now, and then apart from this, you have to you'll get your assignment from your mentors. And then in case if you have any doubts regarding cloud or aws, gcp, or azure, you can always reach out to me. Or if you have any kind of doubts in your assignments, you can also reach out to me in that case also. So thanks, class, for now, and have a great Sunday. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.